After being silenced the last 13 years, Britney Spears has regained her voice and is stronger than ever. Secrecy and questions surrounding her conservatorship has led to the production of multiple documentaries.
I just want my life back.
And coverage on just about every major news outlet.
What are the consequences of an investigation?
Many credit a podcast for shining a light on Britney's conservatorship and how she was being controlled. The podcast was created by two comedians that analyzed her Instagram account.
And while at first it was kind of a joke overanalyzing it, it actually became very serious when we realized the kind of the mechanics behind the conservatorship.
Her dad, Jamie Spears, is granted control of her legal rights.
It has led to a powerful and unexpected whirlwind that the Free Britney movement is credited for. Free Britney! A crusade of fans advocating for justice on behalf of Britney.
It's incredible. I was looking at some photos, of one of the first Free Britney rallies the other day, and it's just a handful of people. It's grown into this worldwide movement.
Through it all, a spotlight has been put on conservatorships, educating many for the first time on what exactly they are and how powerful they can be.
This is a situation where people saw an injustice, refused to be quiet about it, even in the face of being called conspiracy theorists. And just, we're very insistent about keeping this issue at the forefront of the public conscious. And as a result of that, in the last 2 years, we've seen actual legislative change happen because of the Free Britney movement.
I must confess that this issue was put back onto our radar when the Free Britney documentary was released.
But conservatorships aren't new. In fact, in California alone, fiduciaries handle over $13 billion of other people's money. Conservatorships were created for those who could not take care of themselves, and two groups that are likely under a conservatorship are the elderly and people with disabilities, some of the most vulnerable for abuse. So why have they been in the dark, overlooked, until Britney Spears?
That's the sad truth, is that a lot of people that are affected by conservatorship abuse are people that are sort of invisible in our society. I think disabled people, older people.
Obviously, Britney has millions of fans across the world, and so I don't know necessarily that she ever wanted to become a poster child for something in this situation. While I wish it hadn't taken her being in the situation, I think that there is a silver lining to it.
And Spears herself has thanked the Free Britney movement, saying, "Because of you guys and your constant resilience in freeing me from my conservatorship, my life is now in that direction."
Why do you think that Britney Spears has had such a big influence on changing the conservatorship system rather than, grandma?
It is peculiar, isn't it, that people are marching in the streets who've never even met this person and never will.
Frank McAndrew is a professor of psychology who has extensively studied the psychology behind our love of celebrities. He credited three main reasons for the rallying movement of change behind Britney Spears. The first was intrigue into her situation.
The Britney Spears case has all of the sordid ingredients that make it really interesting. What you have is the father essentially exploiting the daughter. And so it's hard to not pay attention to it.
The second was a sense of belonging.
Suddenly there's this community of people who care about the same thing that you do. And that creates an instant bond, and you join these people.
And the third reason was, for many, this was the first time they've learned about conservatorships and how they can be victimizing.
Because this is new to them and kind of shocking that a grown, successful woman can have so little freedom to make decisions in her own life, that this moral outrage drives them.
During our 2-year investigation into conservatorships, I've spoken with dozens of families and experts involved in these legal fights and asked some of them about the Britney Spears case.
It's bittersweet. It's sweet in the sense like the language and the visibility around conservatorships are now out there. So people are now basically educating themselves. At the same time, the Spears family has a lot of resources, and this gets the time of day. We had to fight through years of this.
She's really shown how complicated the system is and how challenging it is to get out of these.
If I saw Britney, I'd want to give her a hug, because if that can happen to someone like her with all her financial means and her recognition around the world, it could happen to anybody.
My just hope is that people start to get, this is a big problem. This Britney Spears that they see, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are not famous that nobody knows about. And because they're not famous, everybody's saying, oh, no big deal.